All right, so today you're starting our last chapter, which is chapter 7, and it's all about circles. So quite a bit of definitions today, or quite a few, sorry. And the first one is a locus, and it's the set of all points that satisfy a certain condition. We won't really do too much with locus, but we do use it in the definition of a circle, even though you all know what a circle is. So I did want to keep it in there. And the technical definition of a circle, it says the locus of all points in a plane that are equidistant from a given point, which is the center, which is our next definition. So center is the central point where the radii form a locus of points. So over here on your circle, estimate about where the center is, okay? Because we're going to be labeling all of this. All right, next definition is a chord. It's a segment with both endpoints on the circle. So I'm going to put the chord here. I just want to make it a little bit bigger. Oh my goodness. Okay, put a dot. Struggling today, guys. There we go. All right, and we are going to write chord there. Okay, it's a segment, which means it stops, and it has its endpoints on the circle. Okay, radius, you should all know what that is. It goes from the center of the circle to a point on the circle. Okay, again, it's a segment. Plural of radius is radii. Diameter is a chord that passes through the center. Let's see if I can... There we go. And remember, the diameter is equal to 2 radii. Okay? Circumference is the distance around the circle, so it's the outside. Okay, it's the whole outside of the circle. Think of it as like the crust on a pizza or pie crust, if you prefer pie over pizza. Speaking of pi, that's our next definition. It's just an irrational number. You see the symbol there, you guys know is approximately 3.14. Oh, that's a bad 4. Okay, so all that good information. First example is just how do we name circles? How do we use these definitions? What are these line segments in the circle? So it says use the circle below to answer the following questions. Name the circle. All right, so when we name a circle, we name it by its center point. So we can either write the word circle, E, or the symbol for circle is a circle with a dot in the middle. That way it doesn't look like a 0 or an O. E, and then the letter of the center. Then we have to name a radius on the circle. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 radii in here. It just wants one of them, but I will name all of them. B to E, E to C, E to D, and E to A. Okay. A chord on the circle. There are several of these as well. A to B, A to D, or you could call them like D to A or B to A. Technically, A to C and B to D are also chords because remember, diameter is a chord. All right, and then part D says name a diameter. There are 2 shown here, so A to C and B to D. Okay. Next example, because it's a little bit boring if we don't have some numbers in it. It says circle R has diameters ST and QM. If S to T is 18, find R to S. So just look at your segments. S to T is the whole thing. R to S is half of it. So S to T is 18, which is the diameter. So that means r to s is 9 because it's half of it. Okay. Next one, it says if r to n is 2, find r to p. Well, r to n is a radius, and r to p is also a radius, and all the radii of the circle are the same length, so r to p is 2. Pretty simple so far, right? All right, good. All right. Now we get to some fun parts. These are like little puzzles. It says the diameters of circle, circle X, circle Y, and circle Z are 22 millimeters, 16 millimeters, and 10 millimeters respectively. And remember what respectively means, that if X comes first, 22 goes with X. If Y comes second and 16 comes second, they go together. And Z and 10 millimeters go together. We have to find E to Z. All right, so let's see what they gave us. Diameter of X is 22. So from there to there is 22. Y, the diameter of Y is 16, but if you look, if I only went from E to Z, oh, hang on, let me draw this a little bit. There we go. All right. From Y, it's 16, but really I just want to look at the diameter, or sorry, the radius. So circle Y starts here, and if the whole thing is 16, that means this half here is 8. I can't just add 22 and 8 because, look, I have this little bit of overlapping region. Ugh. If we knew that, that'd be helpful. But let's see, another way we could go. Another way I'm looking here is if I know this diameter is 16, I just need to figure out this much. Well, if the whole diameter is 22, that must mean this piece is 11. So I want to find the whole thing. So I'm going to get another color. I know this much of it here is 16. This much of it here is 11. So all we have to do is take 16 plus 11, and we get 27. Equals E to Z. There are several different ways to get that same answer. Okay. I do have all the your turns and that I will just post the answers for. That way you guys can work on them then. All right, next part. Looking at circumference, which we've done this before, so this right here should be a little bit of review for you. It says for the circumference of C units and a diameter of D units, or a radius of R units, there are two formulas for circumference. One is C equals pi D, and the other one is C equals 2 pi R. Because remember, the diameter is 2 of the radius. So for the first example, it says find C, so capital C is circumference, if the radius is 13 inches. So I'm going to do my 2 pi R. So that's 2 times 13 pi, which is 26 pi inches. This is an exact answer because it's in terms of pi. However, if we want to approximate it, we get 81.68 inches if you multiply by pi, and this right here is an estimate. Okay, so just pick whichever formula you want to use, substitute the values in, and solve. The next one, it says find C if the diameter is 6 millimeters. So now I'm going to use pi d. So for this one, if they want an exact answer, I literally just have to substitute it in, and we're done. If we want to estimate it, just get your calculator, which I can show you here. Type in 6 pi. Remember, use your pi button. Don't use 3.14. We want to have a little bit more accurate answers. So that is approximately 18.85. And that is just millimeters. Hopefully you guys are liking this lesson. It's not too bad. Don't worry, you can see the next one. They do bring triangles into the circles for you. I didn't want you guys to go through withdrawal of not having to work with triangles too much. All right, and the last one, it says find D and R to the nearest hundredth if C is equal to 65.4. So now I'm going to do pi D. Now they gave me the circumference. So that's going to go in for C. And once I find the diameter, I can just divide it in half and find the radius. So I need to divide both sides by pi. So 65.4 divided by pi, that is 20.82. Okay, so that's our diameter, because that's feet. And just divide that in half if we want the radius, which is 10.41 feet. All right. I know I've gone pretty quickly, but you guys know you can pause the video whenever you need to. Okay? All right, I believe this is our last example because we've had a whole lot of examples here today. It says find the exact circumference of circle K. All right, so when they want the exact circumference, that means we need to leave it in terms of pi. Okay? This is where the fun is going to happen. And I'm sure you guys are a little bit concerned since I said it was going to be fun. So, finding circumference. So circumference is either pi d or 2 pi r. I'm going to use 2 pi r only because I see this triangle right here. Okay? And I see that it is a right triangle and that the hypotenuse is 3 root 2. And it is also an isosceles right triangle because the sides of the triangle are the radii of the circle, which we know are the same. So that must make this a 45, 45, 90 triangle. We know that the hypotenuse is the side times the square root of 2. So that means that each side must be 3 units long. Okay, remember, if you don't know how to do that, we would substitute that in for h, so it would be 3 root 2 equals s root 2. Divide both sides by the square root of 2 to get s by itself, and s is 3. Okay? So now that we know the side or the radius is 3, we can do 2 pi times 3, which is 6 pi. And they wanted it exact, so we're going to leave it like that. And I don't have any units, so we're just leaving it like that. Okay, so that wasn't too bad, but don't forget, it could have also been a 30, 60, 90 triangle, maybe depending on how they draw it, if they draw it with 2 radii or with a chord. All right, so there's a whole lot of your turns for you guys to do. I don't even feel like writing these answers down, but if I'm going to make you do them, I guess I should be able to write them down for you, right? All right, so you can pause the video, try each one, and then come back and check them. I'm not going to do much talking, though. For this one, I'm going to show you another way. You can still use the same way you did for the 45, 45, 90 triangle if you want to, but I'm going to show you a different way for this one in case you guys like this way better. It's using Pythagorean theorem.